Hey guys, what's up? This is Eagz. I recently reached out to Gryffinn and he has given me the all good to review one of his games. So this is what I've done. You guys have requested this. So yeah, that's why I reached out to him and asked him if it was alright if I reviewed one of his games here. I think this is going to be incredibly informative for you guys. I was actually planning on reviewing a few of his games, but in this one game I found so much. This also is a game in which he goes like 19-3 in, but I think kind of the theme here in these games is it's very flippy. And I think this is really going to help Gryffinn out. I really hope he watches it, because I think he will get Challenger if he applies his stuff in here. In fact, I know he will, because he's so good mechanically. So hopefully you guys, find it as insightful, hopefully. Any questions about the stuff, leave them in the comment section. If you want one-on-one coaching, Challenger every single role, any champion, I don't care who you play, you can join my Discord and send me a DM. And there are over like 500 sessions on Patreon. So thank you guys for watching. Check out those links down below. Have a good day. Don't be shit. Bye. Gryffinn is going to start red buff, and I agree with this, of course, because he's against the Shyvana. Shyvana is like the worst jungler in the game. I don't know what JMO's doing in career, but anyway. So he's going to do red, and then he's going to do Krugs, and then he's going to do Raptors here, so he's just going to sequence his top side. Pretty standard stuff so far, right? Now, in this game, we know that the Shyvana has started at blue buff because the Talon has apparently leashed, and if you notice how the Talon kind of ran top from close here, this normally tells us that, unless like he's showing as soon as Nidalee hits this minion here, normally tells us that the enemy jungler has started top side here. Now what Gryffinn ends up doing, even if the Shyvana starts bot like a red buff, even if she does that, checking this, we don't lose anything because we still come back to Wolves Gromp and we can play for Crab, right? It might not be like the Mart Crab because obviously that's RNG, but hopefully you get what I'm saying there. We don't lose anything for actually going into a red side anyway. Even if she starts red, as soon as we come in here and we see like her red buff's gone, so we come around like this, we see this is gone, we can start pinging, top side because we know she's up here, right? And our Nidalee is safe, top side and mid, etc. Anyway, let's continue. Also in this game, I think Gryffinn should definitely have a sweeper here. I don't even know if he needs a health pot, because this matchup looks really free, so I think he can almost greed in a way. If he thinks it's going to be skirmishy early game, though, with like Katarina mid, Rakan, of course, maybe health pot's fine, but I think against a Shyvana, you're always going to be chilling as Kindred, so maybe he can actually just like not buy one here. And you'd probably do the same against like, yeah, just really free matchups. Anyway, after Raptors, he's going to come down here, ping on the way and stuff. This is obviously good, and if he had a sweeper, this is where he would be sweeping, obviously, knowing if Shyvana knows he's coming. And this Shyvana, remember guys, this is like Master Career, is doing blue and just getting hit here. Now this is the first improvement Gryffinn can make, especially because he's playing Kindred, but on any jungler here, man, like, I think this is a really smart move. Maybe it's more so to do with Kindred, but what do you think I'm gonna get into here? Because we know Shyvana has how much CS? 16, right? Because I'm pretty sure Gryffinn got the red buff, right? So Shyvana has 17, maybe got a ward or something at level 1, I don't know. Anyway, what I'm saying is, like, we know that Shyvana's Krugs are up, okay? And we know that Gryffinn, because he got this red buff as well, we know that the only thing up here is Krugs, right? So if we do Shyvana's Krugs, it's going to add 15-20 seconds, right? And it's also a little bit risky just to like jump straight over to Krugs, even if Gryffinn has his Q like in half a second like he does now. It's risky to go to Krugs just because Rakan and Katarina might react here. I mean Ashe as well, right, of course, but I'd really care just about Rakan doing it, because especially when you see a wave in here, these guys don't have that much to do at the moment. I guess there's a wave here as well, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, because this lane has priority, it's actually quite difficult just to like queue over to Krugs, especially with a Katarina, like a skirmishy mid laner. If this was a mage, maybe something like a Victor, it might become more viable, but I think the only way you would like actually go to Krugs here is maybe if you had priority bot, but even then, the best move here is to recall. And by recalling, obviously I played it a couple of seconds here. So we come in here, Gryffinn ends up killing the Shyvana, right? And remember like how my last video, guys, was about tempo? If Gryffinn recalls here, the game is just like completely fucking over. Because when he recalls and he buys boots, I think he should get boots here. So what's he running, like sudden impact or some shit? Okay, so he's running Eyeball and Relentless, yeah, fair enough. So if he recalls here and gets like boots and a longsword, so most people might get 2 longswords here. Boots longsword just enables him to get to one of these crabs first, right? Because we know that, well, ganking mid is pretty hard, and just being on the map here looks difficult because he doesn't have priority. Even if he does have priority, guys, like, it doesn't even matter. I'm just kind of, like, telling you what I see. But it doesn't even matter if he has prior, because he can just recall, get boots and a longsword, and he can do what? He can just run through mid lane and then deviate to either crab, whatever shows the mark, right? Which I think is extremely OP. Shyvana, remember, out of base here is 9 seconds. So Kindred, if she started her recall right now, which she doesn't even think about, would be a second ahead of Shyvana. Now, the boots there are going to help her just get to the crab first, even though Shyvana has W, I understand. But Kindred queuing out of base with boots, I think she'll get there just before the Shiv. And with Pantheon, with Samira, with Rel, with Nidalee, with, like, insane prio here, it should be, like, close to being over. I know, like, that relies on stuff, but hopefully you can envision just how powerful that is. A level 3 Shyvana, who is 2 camps away from level 4, is really going to struggle here. Maybe like her level 4 Gromp would give her 4, but hopefully that makes sense. That's the first move here, and by the way, Gryffinn in this game goes 19-3, but again, I think this early game, man, is just really flippy. It just happens to work out in this game, but in his other games, he's going like, 9-10, 10-12, and stuff like that. This just happens to work out, and I think a big reason why is just because he's against like the weakest jungler I've ever seen, being Shiv, right? So he should recall here. What he ends up doing after this, I think he ends up going all the way back to Krugs, which is like a little inefficient in itself, right? And kind of like doesn't clear them. Anyway, I don't really care like about his micro. We're just going to try and talk about like how we're seeing in the game, because what you're thinking about is going to determine what you do. So the reason Gryffinn, like, if he gets to Challenger, he gets to Challenger. But at the moment, I think if he plays like this, because he's thinking wrong, he's not actually going to be able to do that. So if he was running out of base, so if he recalled at 301, right? 333... in 30 seconds, we're maybe like around this area, right, with boots. And then we can contest the Shiv, who is going to be like, just behind us. So notice how I said that. So like Kindred would probably be here, right, queuing out a base with boots and stuff, deviating when we see the mark. And then we run straight there. So I think this Shyvana getting this top crab is incredibly, incredibly troll. I also don't know why. Like, maybe he thinks Shiv is going for that. So as soon as he sees the mark here, maybe he can go for it, right? But it's kind of difficult maybe to run through mid. But Katarina, like, is on a base, and she's half HP. He should know this. So there is potential to go here, but you can already see, man, like how Shyvana has breathing room here. The other option that I think he has, especially after this Scuttle Crab, is another move just like I said. So think about where Shyvana starts. So if we're not going to hit the Shyvana on this crab, which he definitely should do, if we're not going to hit the Shiv on the crab, and this is also why that recall at 3 minutes is so broken, if we're not going to run here, what could we do afterwards, maybe? Around this time as well, remember. We know Shyvana started topside because the Talon, we're guessing, leashed. And in fact, he did this game, or Shyvana started top this game because we killed her on red buff, right? So we know her topside is going to be 420, 415, 430, 435, 440. Something like this, right? So we know her topside is going to spawn in the next 40 seconds, 45 seconds. This is a Shyvana with no flash. And we have red buff because we just got a fresh one off Shiv. And we're Kindred with our E, of course. Early game Kindred with a longsword, okay? So I think after even this crab, potentially even before this crab here, the Gryffinn can recall, buy 2 longswords and boots, and run to Shyvana's topside. This right here, when he decides to gank bot, I think is the biggest, like, just flip of all time, because this stuff might be warded, right? This just gives away pressure on the map if he shows here, and I don't know how he thinks there's going to be a kill here, right? Yes, like, the lane is pushing, but he doesn't have to be here to, like, cover this, in my opinion. I think he's got way more opportunity to kill the top lane, right? And also, like, what is that Samira doing? I've got no idea. And also, Ashram Khan should know that Kindred is bot side, probably. That's how most people are going to think. So if he recalls and runs here, like, no one is going to anticipate this. And just because, given top lane, he can always pressure this afterwards. So if he was to base at 3 minutes, if he was to base as soon as he gets this crab, he can just run out here. Obviously, we're going to see this gone, so he should get a sweeper, right? Maybe he can just recall here and put some sort of trinket down. Recall, we get a sweeper. If you want to control ward, no worries, get this. You can see like how redundant this health pod is as well in this matchup. So he could recall, boots, 2 longswords, and just run out here, man. And I don't know how on earth the blue team is going to get to like 15 minutes without being like, 10-0. The Kindred being 10-0 here. Look at this top side for me as well. Talon top lane doesn't sound that red hot in terms of priority. Shyvana is incredibly weak, and Cat early game is incredibly weak as well, unless there's like, you know, some good champions around her, I guess, to give her a good skirmish. But this top side is just the worst. So this game, I think, could have ended a lot quicker if Gryffinn found those moves. And what you see here, like, to me anyway, when I watch this, I don't really care what happens here, because this is relying on the Ashram Khan being just as flippy. And thankfully in this game, it works out. It works out in this game. But I think that's why Griffin's like history, he's going to win 50% and lose 50% because of moves like these. You're just like kind of relying on their bot lane being drunk. Whereas we can control the game and our matchup even more, especially when we get first blood like this. Because if I'm playing as Shiv here, I can't believe I've got this. I can't believe I've got this. I can't believe I've got this again, my level 4 camps. At a base here, I think Gryffinn makes another mistake, right? He should know that the Shyvana's only kind of like counterplay here when he shows. And remember, he showed pretty early here and like killed them and then he shoved a wave. So that's a good like 20 seconds on vision. We know Shyvana went topside for our mark because it's respawned on Gromp, right? So the crab at 3:30, this is going to respawn like 55 seconds later, and it's going to be Gromp, because Raptors, these have a 5-minute timer. Why? 4:15, 4:20, 4:45 minutes. Gryffinn should know that his Krugs are gone here, and I know you guys are going to be like, why on earth, you know, like, how do you know that? You're just looking at this in hindsight. Bro, I wish I recorded myself talking, like, over this game or thinking about this game, because I just wanted to, like, find some games that he was playing, I think, badly in, if that makes sense. I just wanted to find, like, a really informative game teaching the most important early game concepts. This was the first game I watched, and I was like, holy shit, there is so much here. He should never run to Krugs here. He should even trust the Shyvana to have taken these. Also, who really cares about top lane in this game when Nidalee is doing this well? Now, of course, you could gank top if Talon is just like a free kill, like if this lane was frozen, and it actually looks like it's in a great position, right? So if Nidalee was to like base here and run back, we could easily think, if we had our top camps, to go something like maybe Krugs Raptors here, Raptors Krugs here, right, and just gank the Talon again. But who cares about this lane? But in terms of jungling here, we know the Shyvana has probably taken our Krugs, because it's the only play she has. But we don't want her to take our Raptors, and our Raptors are fresh off a spawn at this point. Because remember, we went red, Krugs, Raptors, right? So Raptors around 4:40. This game is a little bit late. I don't know if he stuffed his clear up, but anyway. We want to protect Raptors here, because if Shiv goes like this to this, really bad, right? It's almost like Shyvana is back in the game a little bit. She's not even, of course she's not. But that does actually like give her way too much counterplay, I think, which is why I just don't like this play down here. It's so flippy and presumptuous. You're hoping the enemy ball lane is just kind of out of it. So he should run to Raptors here. After he runs to Raptors, what do you guys think he should do? Because obviously this Gromp has gone, right? We know Shyvana's top side of the map. This Gromp is 100% gone. And can you see here as well, guys? Like I even should have mentioned this at like the when he killed Shyvana on red buff. We should know that the next mark here is probably going to be Shiv's Gromp, right? Because the crab, whoever takes it, Shyvana started Gromp. That's going to be like what, around 4:20. Her Raptors aren't going to be up by that point, right? So her Raptors aren't going to respawn until 5 minutes. So some Kindred tech there. The mark has to be her Gromp. So I'm really surprised as like rank 1, you know, Kindred, I guess. Gryffinn didn't actually like spot this or whatever. So I don't know if it's because he's playing on stream or because he's tilted or something like that. Whatever it is, like he's just not thinking, I don't think, at the highest level, because he would have found these moves and the game is a lot more free, yeah? I don't think this game has to go 23 minutes. I don't think it has to go past 10 minutes. I think the enemy team will 100% FF. So here he should just run straight to Raptors out of base, and after seeing his Raptors up, obviously doing them is a good thing, right? Because, again, we should even trust that Shyvana has done these. So therefore we know that our top side is going to respawn around what time? 7:30. That's going to be similar to our first red buff spawn, right? 6:45, 6:50. So if we were to run out of base at that time and we see our red buff up, we can go red. Krugs, just knowing they're going to either be there because, let's just say Shyvana hasn't done them for whatever reason, or they're going to respawn because she has done them, right? According to the timer. Then we can come back to Raptors and we're into Rift Herald nicely. Doing Raptors here is excellent. After this, though, I want Gryffinn to invade the Shiv's Raptors. I want him to attack this bot side because we know Shyvana has done our Gromp, or probably definitely done this, right? Like, surely. And we also know that she's going to path down, right? Because that's what she did in this game. So I think him doing walls is very, very slow as well. Given the fact that Panther's there, our Rel is next to us, we can just run in. Look at our items. Why would we not want to run in here and hit the Shyvana's Raptors? I think doing our bot side is a complete waste of time because Shiv can take these, and by the time you come in, she's just about to finish them or has finished them. So I know level 5 is important there, but doing walls is just too slow. Also here, he should probably just do like Gromp, right? Connect these two, and then he can do blue buff afterwards. What ends up happening after this is there is a bit of a flip fight bot. I don't really care what happens. I'm just going to show you, like, again, trying to force something here and just a little bit more Kindred tech as well here, guys. I know that Shyvana is pathing bot here, right? And the red team should win a fight. But Kindred tech, we should know that the next mark is going to be what? This. Both junglers here did the crabs at around 335, 340. That means those crabs are going to respawn around 610, 620 in between that timer. So, in 20 seconds time, this crab is going to respawn. Gryffinn again should know this. And he can just recall here and run straight here. Yes, he doesn't have the biggest base in the world, but it is easily good enough to run to this top crab and get another mark. So I thought this game was very informative in terms of, you know, finding moves that can be improved. And I'm not saying that Gryffinn is bad, of course not. But compared to, I think, the moves that he could have made, I think there's a massive difference. And I think this will really help not only him out, but anyone who watches this. So hopefully, guys, this video is useful. Any questions about the moves as well, please feel free to leave questions in the comment section. Liking the video as well would be sick. Please hit the subscribe button as well, and let me know if there's any other junglers you want me to look at. I know I've been requested to do Canyon and all that stuff. So yeah, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.